There are tools for communication out there. There are really great tools around communication, but somehow when it comes to a heated moment, couples actually don't use them.
So hi, this is Peter Kowalke. Today we're here with Szekely from the Couple Center in the San Francisco area. Let's talk about communication. What does go wrong? What is usually the cause of these communication breakdowns, and what can couples do to fix that rift?
Right. It's a great question. It's like a lot of the common, knowledge that people say out there is just like, I just don't, or even couples say when they come in, they just say, I just don't know how to communicate right. And they think it's about a structure. A lot of people think it's like, if I just got the right structure of how to say things, if you just give me the right words of how to say things, and then things were going to go well. And so they think I just need this kind of the right type of structure, and then everything is going to go okay. And so just give me that tool. And there are tools for communication out there. There are really great tools around communication, but somehow when it comes to a heated moment, couples actually don't use them. They just go out the window and they get angry at each other and they get frustrated, and they just like, all rules gonna go out the window, basically. Okay, and so we have to look a little deeper. So the real cause of communication problems is not the way you talk; it's more like the emotional triggers that get evoked. Your partner says or does something, usually with no bad intention. I mean, no one goes into a relationship with this intention of like, I'll make this other person miserable, right? They want to make you feel loved and connected, but they do something that for you feels sensitive. The message you're getting from that is negative. Whether the message is like, whatever you're doing right now is not okay, is not right, is not enough. I don't feel loved by you. I don't feel cared for you by you. So you get some kind of a negative message that for you is sensitive, which then cause you to kind of react strongly, emotionally in a defensive way. And that will trigger them to react also in a defensive way because they just got triggered into something sensitive. And then you get stuck in this kind of like defend kind of place,
Yeah. Well, obviously no person wants to antagonize we hope, doesn't want to antagonize
Right.
their partner with these triggers. So, how do they fall into it? And more importantly, how do they avoid or deal with the fact that they're setting off all these emotional triggers?
Right. Well, the irony is that, we get into this emotional triggers because our partner is so important to us. Because when other people would say the same things to us, we might feel like it's mildly frustrating, but we won't get so frustrated. But when our partner says those things to us, because we love them so much and because we care about what they're thinking so much, then we get a lot more strong of a reaction, right? And so, relationship really evokes some of our deepest longings, our deepest needs, our deepest desires. Like I want to feel loved. I want to feel appreciated. I want to feel like we're on the same team. I want to feel safe with you. I want to feel like you appreciate me, you value me, you think I'm great, you support me. So all of those things are very deep for us. And so when our partner says something that for us feels like they're not doing one of those things, loving us, appreciating us, supporting us, cheerleading for us, making space for us, then we have a strong reaction. Does that make sense?
Yeah. So then how do we deal with the problem then? I see, how it comes up, but on the feet on the ground, how do we deal with this problem?
Right. It's a great question. I mean, first of all, we have to recognize that, that we're getting into what I call a negative cycle, and other people also call a negative cycle. We have to recognize that we're getting defensive. We're getting emotionally triggered. We're getting frustrated or hurt, and so because when we do that, we start getting defensive and we start doing things that for the other person also pushes the button. Like we criticize or we withdraw, or we start to demean them or put down what they're saying, or we don't listen to them. So we do a lot of behaviors that makes the other person feel bad, and then we kind of perpetuate, this kind of negative atmosphere between us. So first we have to recognize, okay, we're getting defensive. Okay? So that helps us stop a little bit. And then we have to ask ourselves, what is really happening for me? What did I just get hurt around? So what is the real thing that's making me feel about it? Because let me explain you this. I mean, couples fight over like a million different things. It could be anything from, the washing machine to like who picks up the kids to, whatever, you didn't do the dishes. But really, they're not fighting over that. They're fighting over those deeper issues that I was just telling you, these issues around, do you really love me? Can I count on you? Are you there for me? Do you really appreciate me or value me? And so I have to really ask myself, what is it that's really happening for me? Like what of those issues actually just got evoked in me that made me respond so strongly? Because if I know to recognize that, and then I can communicate it. And so then we take the communication to a whole different level. Instead of saying like, you didn't do the dishes yesterday, I can say, when you don't do the dishes, I feel like I can't count on you. And that's difficult for me. That's even scary for me. If you're my partner and I can't count on you, I feel really bad about that, right? Because when I do it this way, the other person is going to listen to me rather than just, whatever, be defensive or blame me back or, have their own arguments, etc.
So you're saying that we're going to set off these triggers in our partner. So really the solution starts with the receiver, with the person who is being triggered, is what you're basically saying. And you're saying that first step is to realize that this pattern is going on, that I'm being triggered. And then the second step then is to dive into figuring out what's the real issue, what's really making me get upset and being triggered. And then the third step that I'm hearing you saying is that you then communicate to your partner, not, I'm so mad that the dishes weren't done, but the real reason you were mad, which is I can't rely on you, or whatever the thing that actually was triggering it. Because it's not really about the dishes.
Right. Okay. Yeah, exactly. I mean, it is on the receiver. It's also a bit on the person who's communicating, because couples, you have always, there's both sides to it, and one of the things I really like about this work with couples in whatever form it comes is that people really learn also what are the sensitive things for each other, because they end up being like one or two things for each person.
Well, thank you very much for taking the time to talk with me, Gal. You have a series of workshops that you put on several times a year in the San Francisco area, Love Made Simple. People interested in that can go to thecouplecenter.org to find out about the dates of those workshops, and hopefully they can get out and attend one of those with you in person. So thank you again for taking the time to talk with me, Ava, and I'm sure everyone who's watching will be able to apply those techniques.
Thank you for your great questions and for this interview.